Nigerians and our wonderful viewers, you're welcome to today's edition of Nigeria Today. I'm glad you're there watching Living TV. As usual, today we're going to look at sundry issues as it affects our country and our various states. Well, I know you'll be glad to listen to this group of analysts we have here who are very versatile in their various fields of endeavor. From my far left today, I have Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a historian, a public affairs analyst, and a political affairs analyst. Comrade, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good day, viewers.
Away from that, we have Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu. Barrister Chukwuemeka Nwogu is a practicing lawyer, a security consultant, and also a public affairs analyst. Barrister, welcome to the program.
Thank you, moderator. Good day, viewers.
All right, today we're looking at the presidential candidate of APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has urged the ex-Minister of State for Steel and Mines Development, Dr. Uchoga, to stop all court cases he filed over the Abia State Governorship primaries and come and meet him to talk over the issues. I'll start with you, Comrade Lekwachi. From all indications, it's like the problem in APC will soon come to an end since their presidential candidate is well in. What's your take on that?
Yes, I think, in all honesty, Tinubu needs the house to be in order. You understand? Not only in Abia State, but in all the states. Because I did say here the other day that if you look at the parties, you see that even at state level, even at what levels, if you are to go down, even at one level, there are issues. You understand? There are issues, outstanding issues. Some of them are even in court, some of them are not in court. Grievances here and there. So there is every need for all these political parties, whether APC or PDP, to go to election, you understand, under one house. So what Tinubu did was the right thing. In fact, I watched his out in Nomoha yesterday. What he did was the right thing, to have that kind of negotiation or that panel that tries to address these grey areas. Because as it is now, there is a court ruling saying Uchoga is the Kuba candidate, and we are also having. In fact, we are having. Mind you, don't say for get that. You understand? 2 primaries and then so a lot of issues. So the best option now for Tinubu is to do what and make sure that every party is carried along. So he calling and giving that from the fillers, from what we are hearing. The president or the presidency is disposed to the person of Ikechi Emenike. It's also good that you bring in Uchoga into the fold, not just to say you are going to work with this particular candidate or this particular thing, then excluding the other. There's every reason to bring Uchoga in and assure him if if he should work. It's just about what trading or bargaining. Understand? If APC wins, he should focus his strength on the campaign. If APC wins, what he stands to benefit or not. But then if he continues with his court issue, then it becomes a different problem. So what Tinubu did to me, so it's not entirely bad. Everything should there should be an alternative dispute resolution mechanism, including an in-house talk. Appropriate.
All right, Council. You know the Federal High Court in Abuja gave it to Uchoga. After a while, the Ikechi Emenike went to court again, and Court of Appeal gave it back to him. And Ikechi Emenike is now heading to the Supreme Court. And then Tinubu had to come. Assuming Ikechi Emenike is already in the Supreme Court, it's impossible to withdraw the matter based on Tinubu's demand.
Well, there is really no impossibility to peaceful, amicable resolution of matters. We have this new stance. It's been there at least in the past 10, 20 years. The ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution Mechanism. It's been explored in settling all kinds of misunderstandings, and it has been shown to, at the end of the day, elicit better success in terms of the parties remaining friends long after disputing. Because when you go through the regular hog of the judicial process, it is usually one side must win and one side must lose. But in ADR, you strive for a win-win for everybody. Everybody wins something. Nobody is a complete loser. Every person takes home something. And to that extent, you say in ADR that every person is a winner. Because every person has gained something. Now, to the issue whether it could be settled even at the Supreme Court, yes. If it is settled in such a way that whosoever is the appellant before the appeal is heard at the final stage, now discontinues with the appeal, there's nothing left for the court to proceed to do. The court will not force the parties against their will to continue in combat. As a matter of fact, even the rules of the court encourage the parties to go into settlement. And so whenever parties evince an intention to settle, the court most times would lend support to it, except for some election petitions. Even at that, when it properly comes before the court and the approval of the court is sought and obtained, yes, it can always be settled.
Okay. Still on APC, the rally at the Omaya Township, Niger State, the presidential candidate of the party, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said his emergence as the next president of this country would end frustrations of Nigerian youth. He also promised to create job opportunities for millions of youths if voted into power. Comrade, I'm coming to you still.
Yes.
And then while talking about that, let us also remember the promise also made by this party, some years, about 7.5 years ago, almost 8 years now. And then how far have we gone with these promises? The fulfillment of these promises till date. And then let's compare it also with the promises of Tinubu creating millions of jobs.
Yes, I read Tinubu's manifesto, just like I read Obi's manifesto, Ampaso's manifesto, Atiku manifesto. I think Atiku called his own my pact with Nigerians. Tinubu was talking about hope, and the P2P was talking about God or something. All of them, particularly Tinubu, they'll be telling you something about creating millions of jobs for the youth. Understand? It is easy to say something in a political write-up or campaign ground. Understand? From facing the realities on ground, and that is the realities I want Nigerians to use to measure and gauge the possibility of realizing the campaign promises as embedded in the manifestos of these various candidates. Tinubu talks about spending more in government, you understand, to achieve results. Atiku wanted something like a new government and then privatization, empowering the SMEs and the rest of them. But all of them talks about the youth. Tinubu even talks about creating technological hub or base to fortify Nigeria from the current economic system to the area of textile and the rest of them. That's fine. But look at the realities of that today. 33% unemployment rate. Mostly over 60% of these are the youth. Now we also talk about the fact that we also have inflation, purchasing power decline, and now come to think of debt burden. I no longer talk about debt profile now. I talk about public debt stock. Now, if you look at all this now, what will do? How will you be addressing 77 trillion naira likely debt is to inherit? You understand? And then at the same time creating this job, because we need to set our assumptions on the right parameters. I'm also talking to Obi, Bampaso, or I think through this live from now. Because if you look at Atiku's own campaign, he said he will create 10 million jobs. You understand? For every 10 million jobs. I don't know. And then he will lift the GDP to 13%, something about 3.something% now. So all these things, let us use the assumption. They are going to inherit a budget that is deficit with 12.1 trillion for a start. They are beginning on that budget, you understand? Now, what are they going to do differently to advise you? This is what I want to see them talk about, not just to make promises. So, APC, mind you, said they will be creating, in fact, they will be lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. Before 2030, they ended up plunging 45 more million persons into poverty. Because if you look at the Brooklyn report of 2018, it said 88 million Nigerians were poor. Now, by 2022, the NBS, the National Bureau of Statistics, now says 133 million Nigerians have become multidimensionally poor. If you are so to subtract 88 million from 133, you have about 45 million. It means APC created poverty instead of wealth. So these are the things they should be looking at. The issue of education and out of school children, the people you are even trying to bring to the area of wealth, majority of them do not have education. Then you look at infrastructure, you also look at debt, you also look at inflation and the rest of them. These are the realities facing us now. Don't tell us what you cannot achieve. Because the current president, after doing 7 years and was asked, you say you'll be ending insecurity, you say you'll be ending corruption, you say you'll be, he now said those things were the manifesto of the party. So I think it's right to state these things on things that are realistic and that are realizable. Thank you.
All right, Council, the Tinubu, by this promise, has accepted the fact that Nigerian youths are frustrated. And considering what the current administration, I should borrow your word, the chief driver of this country told us that he has not disappointed anybody. But Tinubu coming out to tell us if he wins, he's going to make sure the frustration of Nigerian youth will end. Is that not an open acceptance of the failure of this administration?
He has not denied being a part of this administration that has virtually killed this nation. I wonder which aspect of this polity called Nigeria that is still functional the way it ought to be. Tinubu is telling people that he will end frustration, probably because he is the one that sat at the table where the frustration was originated. He provided the blueprint on which this administration is running. The blueprint that has taken us from being one of the first 24 economies in the world, as at the time they took over, and I think 4th fastest growing in the world, and the #1 in Africa, taking us to be the poverty capital of the world. And he has the mind, the presence of mind, to still tell people to vote for him. It's so sad. That can only happen in a place like Nigeria, where you will give somebody several machete cuts, and after giving him machete cuts, you tell him, pass over that salt there, let me rub it on your injury, and you expect the person to pass that plate of salt so that you will apply it on his injury. That is exactly what Tinubu is doing. If you look at the body language of Mr. Body Language, our chief driver, and then even when he came out to say, look, I don't know what people are saying, I never said anything. The Constitution of Nigeria says that you cannot run for any office unless you are sponsored by a political party. And you have to belong to that political party. You have to be a member. If they make a promise to Nigerians, a social contract has been created. Whether it came from you as a person or came from your political party, of which you are a member, and on whose platform you ran as their flag bearer, you are there to achieve the mandate of the party. You cannot turn around tomorrow and tell us, I never made such a promise. If we are to go by precedent, whatever Tinubu is also telling us today, whatever APC is telling us today, that is the way it is going to be. How many million Nigerians every quarter, every year, you lift out of poverty? Rather than lifting out, they are plunging everybody down into poverty. I will end the insurgency in how many weeks and how many months after taking office? Almost 8 years after assuming office, insecurity has now worsened such that he had to come out openly at a time to ask Nigerians, look, go and pray. I have tried everything I can and it's not working. Go and pray. I don't know how else confession of failure is done except in this manner. And if you have to ascribe that also to Tinubu, who brought the bulk of the blueprint on which APC is running, it simply means from day one, Tinubu has been a part of this failed administration. So if he has been a part of it, running it with them, the administration has failed. Tinubu is simply going to continue the failure. After all, don't forget that he told us he will continue from where Mr. President stopped. So he's going to continue sliding us down, and finishing us. May God not allow such a situation. The little life remaining in us, I pray that another political party will, of course, take over come May 29th and take Nigerians at least. If you're falling, for you to get up, you must first come to zero falling level. When you have achieved that, then you now talk about getting up again. But the way we are going, God forbid that Tinubu would become president. That means that there will be no end to the falling. It will be what the Bible called the bottomless pit. Yes.
Okay, the IPOB has claimed that the politicians are behind the killings and destruction of properties and insecurity in Imo State, and has vowed to render key politicians in Imo State politically irrelevant. And Emma Powerful, the spokesperson of the IPOB, said the politician contributed to the pains of the residents of Imo State. And then we know about the killings in Imo State, and recently it looks as if the thing is happening on a daily basis. And in fact, both even the uniform, the police, the ordinary, including the burning of INEC offices and so on there and thereabout. The IPOB is
2-3 days ago, a local government chairman
was
that horrific video that trended everywhere. I couldn't even bring myself to watch it.
In a very cruel manner.
Yeah, so come, let's look at this. You know, the IPOB is blaming the whole thing on the politicians.
Yes, I think we have to also establish the fact that some of the execution style models we are seeing points to political motivation. They could be politically motivated. I will give you an instance. The killing of the husband of former DG of NAPDA, Professor Dora, you know, the husband was recently killed, and within even before 24 hours, a statement was flown saying that it was IPOB that killed the man. But it's really like you see that such similar killings even preceded his own in Anambra State. Even at the time, the convoy of Professor Charles Chukwuma was attacked, and then at the time also other persons were also killed in similar manner. I think we have to come to the point where we tell ourselves the truth. Remember, when a certain bishop was kidnapped, but I'm not making the case for IPOB now. Now listen, when a certain bishop was kidnapped, along with the Zukwako, baby, the man said something. He said those who kidnapped him were speaking full language, and then they were working in towns with the Nigerian soldiers. But nothing was done. That statement was not interrogated. Yes, nothing was done. That statement was not interrogated as we are here now. Yes, I see what is happening in the southeast as confluence of factors. One, you have many groups, even those agitating for separation, but who may have also a different ideology from IPOB. Mind you, the detention, the arrest and continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu caused so much damage within the ranks of IPOB. There are now faceless groups who are propagating secession or secessionism using violence. We are hearing the fact there are about over 8 or so of such groups in the southeast alone. Now, the ESN is also an armed militia, in fact, a militia wing of the IPOB itself, which creation came after 2019 MNA killings, when IPOB members have gone to pray and the military visited terror on them and they were killed. Now, today we see that virtually in places like Idad or Oru West, Oru East, Olo, and some places in Imo State. And then in Anambra State too, insecurity is not letting up. It is even a concern to some of us in the civic space whether elections can hold in those places. Now, if you also look at and the most cases, some of these places are also strong groups of both IPOB and other secessionist groups. And now, if you also look at the issue of burning or incendiary attacks on INF facilities, I think that has a national corner. It's not only to be spotlighted in the southeast alone. Remember, it happened in Ogun State today, about 65,000 PVCs were lost. It happened in Osun, it happened elsewhere. Now, it also tells you that it could be politically motivated because some persons, see, some of the senators we have, some of the governors we have cannot win council election. And that is why they are hell-bent on frustrating the system or sabotaging and undermining the process. Especially now we are making some innovations to having electronic transmission of results and then the results being harvested in real time. Some persons, the enemies of democracy, are not also relaxing. They are not relaxing on their own. They will do anything. So what is happening in the south is what IPOB is saying could well be the truth. But then, to an extent, IPOB has not also been able to put its house together after the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu. So it means that angry elements within its ranks can actually go the extra mile, do certain things that may be unlawful, and then bring about to an extent decline of insecurity in this region.
All right, Council, let's quickly, I want you to react to that too. This Imam Powerful's, will I say, alleged accusation on the political class of Imo State, that they have cost them a lot of pain.
There is no doubt that the political gladiators in Imo State somehow have a hand in or interest in the killings going on, the assassinations, the terror, and all whatnot. Because Imo State now appears to be like a melting point of terror, as far as the southeast is concerned. And it doesn't seem to be letting up. Every day you switch on, there has to be something about such acts of terrorism in Imo State. And each time, for us in the security industry, each time such a thing is taking place, there is always an effort by the perpetrators to tie it to IPOB.
Yeah.
Their effort is too much to tie it. They are making too much effort to tie it to IPOB. And that effort, they are going about it vehemently. For some of us, it smacks of, will I say, it's unrealistic. It's suspect. It doesn't look real because the effort is just too much. Give a dog a bad name in order to hang the bad name. IPOB, yes, they already have a bad name, so continue saying they are behind this, they are behind this. Usually when the IPOB we know, when they want to do anything, they usually don't go about it in a faceless manner. Yes. They come out to tell you they own up. Yes, many faceless groups. Yes, they own up to it. Yes. And today, all you now need to do is to claim to be agitating for Nnamdi Kanu. Yeah. I want to assure you that some of those people who are carrying out all these dastardly acts, if they even see Nnamdi Kanu or he's released today, they will look for a fresh reason. They will look for a fresh reason. So, on my own part, I do not want to believe that they are fighting for IPOB. Indeed, like I earlier on said, I might equally be accusing the politicians, including state actors in the class of politicians and also non-state actors equally.
All right, wonderful viewers. We are going to drop the curtain here for now, and then keep listening and keep watching Living TV, and then Nigeria Today continues. And so, from my far left again is Comrade Nnamdi Elekwachi. Comrade, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure. Thank you, viewers.
And then I have Barrister Chukwuemeka Wong. Barrister, we are glad having you here.
Thank you, moderator. Goodbye, viewers.
This is your command, Chinedu Majele. Keep watching Living TV.
Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me,
Have you heard that Living Television, the latest satellite station on SatView channel, is received all over Nigeria and Africa? You can watch Living Television on every free-to-air HD decoder, including Strong HD and CSAT HD. Why keep paying for monthly subscriptions when you can have fun for free? With Living Television, you can watch lots of wrestling, football, documentaries, and Nigerian films, including discussions and debates on current Nigeria issues. Watch free live matches on La Liga Spain cum Serie A, Italy cum Bundesliga, German League 1, and French matches on over 80 premium channels. Wow! You can also sponsor your programs such as live church services and crusades, political rallies, burial and wedding ceremonies, promotional interviews, announcements, advertisements, documentaries, and commercials. We are situated at number 1 Judges Street off Ikorekwane Road, Aba, Abia State. For further enquiries, call 0805 367 3900. Signed, Management.
allow me,
And so you can keep on watching Living TV. I can say in pidgin English, Living TV, Nade Kampe.
Living TV, bringing the word first to you.